The Rocky Mountain bunker buzzed with a frenetic energy that bordered on desperation. Lena Navarro stood in the workshop, her hands smeared with grease as she tested a salvaged plasma cutter. The Wyoming strike had crippled the Krath's comms, buying humanity a week of chaos in the alien fleet, but the cost was steep. A volunteer dead, the maglev launcher destroyed, and the Krath now hunting them with renewed fury. Lena knew they needed a bigger play, something to shift the war's momentum. That play was a Krath scout ship grounded in a Utah desert after the EMP pulse, and tonight they'd steal it. Aisha Malik hunched over a console nearby, her tablet glowing with intercepted Krath data. "Ship's in a dry lake bed, 50 clicks west of Salt Lake," she said, her voice taut with excitement. "It's damaged, engines offline, shields down, but the core's intact. If we grab it, I can crack its systems, maybe figure out how they tick." Lena set the cutter down, wiping her brow. "That's a big if. The Krath won't leave it unguarded. Diego, what's the ground look like?" Diego Reyes, leaning on a crate of scavenged explosives, studied a hollow map. "Rough terrain, canyons, dunes, no cover for miles. They've got at least a dozen drones patrolling plus a squad of those bug bastards. We'll need speed and surprise." "Speed we can do," Samir said, poking his head out from under a jury-rigged hoverbike. "I've got 3 of these babies running, old survey models, but they'll hit 100 clicks an hour, won't outrun Krath drones, but they'll get us in close." Lena nodded, her mind racing. Stealing a scout ship was insane, suicidal even, but the payoff could change everything. Aisha's hack suggested the Krath relied on centralized power cores, a design flaw humans could exploit. If they could study one up close, they might find a way to cripple the fleet. But the mission hinged on precision, and Lena felt the weight of every life she'd risk. "We go in small," she said. "Me, Diego, Aisha, Samir. 2 hoverbikes, 1 distraction team. We hit at midnight, use the dark. Aisha, can you spoof their drones?" "Already cooking something," Aisha said, tapping her tablet. "I'll loop their sensor feeds, make them see ghosts, but it'll only hold for 10 minutes tops." "10's enough," Lena said, though her gut twisted. She met Diego's eyes, seeing the same grim resolve. "Gear up, we leave in 3 hours." The Utah desert stretched like a moonscape under a starless sky, its cracked lakebed glowing faintly from the scout ship's red hull. Lena crouched behind a dune, her hoverbike's engine still warm beside her. Diego and Samir flanked her, their faces shadowed by dust-caked goggles. Aisha, a few meters back, worked her tablet, her fingers flying to keep the Krath drones blind. The ship loomed 100 meters away, its sleek form guarded by 6 Krath soldiers, segmented bioluminescent, their claws clutching plasma rifles. Drones whirred overhead, their scanners sweeping the sand. Lena's earpiece crackled. "Distractions ready," a volunteer named Kira reported from a canyon 2 clicks east. Her team had rigged explosives to mimic a human assault, drawing the Krath's attention. "Say the word." "Now," Lena whispered. A distant boom echoed, followed by flares lighting the horizon. The Krath soldiers chittered, 3 sprinting toward the decoy with drones in tow. Lena's pulse surged. "Go." She and Diego leapt onto one hoverbike, Samir and Aisha on the other. The engines roared, kicking up sand as they raced across the lakebed. Lena clung to Diego's waist, the wind stinging her face. The ship grew closer, its hull scarred from the EMP crash but intact. 2 Krath guards turned, their rifles glowing green. Diego swerved, dodging a plasma bolt that melted sand into glass. Lena drew her plasma cutter, its blade flaring blue, and leaned out, slashing a drone that dove too close. Sparks erupted as it crashed, but the guards fired again, forcing Diego to zigzag. 6 minutes left on the spoof, Aisha shouted, her voice nearly lost in the wind. Samir gunned their bike, pulling alongside Lena. Aisha aimed a hacked stun gun, firing an arc of electricity that dropped one guard in a twitching heap. The other roared, its mandibles flaring, and charged. Lena jumped off the bike, rolling in the sand. Pain shot through her shoulder, but she ignored it, sprinting for the ship's hatch. The guard lunged, its claw grazing her arm, tearing fabric and skin. She spun, driving the plasma cutter into its chest. The alien staggered, its bioluminescence fading, and collapsed. "Diego, cover!" Lena yelled, scrambling to the hatch. Aisha skidded to a stop, tossing her a decryption pad. Lena slapped it onto the hatch's panel, its screen flashing as it brute-forced the Krath lock. Diego and Samir fired at the remaining drones, their rifles spitting sparks in the dark. 4 minutes, Aisha warned. More Krath incoming. The hatch hissed, sliding open. Lena dove inside, Aisha behind her. The ship's interior was alien. Curved walls pulsing with red light, consoles covered in glyphs. The air was thick, humid, smelling of ozone and something organic. Lena's skin prickled, but she pushed forward, her cutter ready. "Find the core," she told Aisha. "I'll secure the bridge." Aisha nodded, heading for a glowing chamber at the ship's rear. Lena climbed a ramp to the bridge, her boots slipping on the slick floor. A lone Krath technician spun, its mandibles clicking in alarm. Lena tackled it, pinning its claws and slamming the cutter's hilt into its head. It slumped unconscious. The bridge consoles hummed, their screens showing the Krath fleet's chaotic status, comms still down, ships drifting. Lena's heart raced. This was a goldmine if they could hold it. She activated her comms. Diego, Samir, we're in. Status? Pinned down, Diego grunted. Drones are back and we've got company. Krath reinforcements half a click out. Lena cursed, scanning the bridge. A weapons panel caught her eye. Its controls intuitive despite the alien design. She tapped a glyph and a turret outside whirred, blasting a drone into scrap. Use the ship's guns, I'm covering you. Diego's team rallied, taking cover as Lena fired another turret burst. Sand erupted, scattering the Krath. Samir dragged an injured volunteer to the hatch, shouting, we're boarding. Aisha's voice cut through. Got the core, it's stable, but we need to move. Drones are overriding my spoof. Lena glanced at the bridge's main screen. Red dots closed in. Krath reinforcements, too many to fight. Samir, can you fly this thing? Samir stumbled onto the bridge, his goggles fogged with sweat. Maybe, gimme a sec. He slid into the pilot's seat, his hands fumbling over the glyphs. The ship shuddered, its engines coughing but igniting. Hold on. The scout ship lifted, sand cascading from its hull. Lena braced against a console as the lakebed fell away. Diego and the volunteers piled into the hold, slamming the hatch. Plasma bolts streaked past, Krath drones firing wildly. Samir yanked a control and the ship lurched, dodging a blast that scorched its flank. Core's humming, Aisha shouted from the rear. I'm locking it down, don't crash us, Samir. No promises, Samir yelled. Grinning despite the chaos, the ship climbed, breaking through clouds as the desert shrank below. Krath drones fell behind, their range limited. Lena exhaled, her shoulder throbbing, blood soaking her sleeve. We're clear, Diego reported, his voice heavy. Loss one, Kira. She didn't make it out of the decoy team. Lena's jaw tightened, another name to carry. She got us the ship, she said quietly. We make it count. The bridge fell silent, the hum of the engines a grim backdrop. Aisha joined them, her tablet plugged into a Krath console. This thing's a treasure trove, she said. Schematics, fleet data, power core specs. Their ships rely on these cores. Overload one and it's game over. We can use this. Lena nodded, her mind already turning. The ship was a weapon, a chance to hit the Krath where it hurt. But the cost, Kira, the injured, her own blood, gnawed at her. She pulled the hollow of Mara and Eli from her pocket, their faces grounding her. Set course for the bunker, she told Samir. We've got work to do. Aboard the Krath flagship, Zorath's claws gouged his console, his eyes blazing. The humans had stolen a scout ship, slipping through his forces like sand through a sieve. His officers chittered nervously. Their reports a litany of failures, comms disrupted, drones lost, human signals infecting their network with absurd noises. A song about a queen and Galileo. Enough, Zorath roared, these primates mock us, deploy the hunter fleets, find their base, crush them. In a shadowed corridor, Tarek Voon overheard the order, his mandibles twitching. The human heist was bold, reckless, unlike anything the Krath would attempt. He'd accessed the scout's final transmission, images of a human woman, bloodied but unbowed, fighting with a tool, not a weapon. Her defiance stirred something in Tarek, a crack in his loyalty. The Krath valued order, but order was failing against human chaos. He slipped into a maintenance bay, pulling up a human signal, a video of children laughing in a ruined city. Tarek's eyes dimmed. What was he fighting for? Back in the bunker, the scout ship landed in a hidden canyon, its hull cloaked by camouflage nets. Lena stepped onto the rocky ground, her arm bandaged, exhaustion pulling at her bones. Aisha and Samir began unloading the ship's data, their faces alight with possibility. Diego stood watch, his rifle ready for Krath retaliation. We did the impossible, Aisha said, grinning at Lena. Told you we'd make them regret coming here. Lena managed a tired smile. One step at a time, they'll hit back harder now, we need to be ready. She looked to the stars, the Krath fleet a distant threat. Humanity was battered, bleeding, but unbroken. The scout ship was their spark, and Lena would fan it into a fire to burn the Krath from the sky, for Kira, for Mara, for Earth. The captured Krath scout ship sat under camouflage nets in a rocky mountain canyon, its red hull gleaming dully in the dawnlight. Lena Navarro stood in the bunker's workshop, her bandaged arm aching as she pored over the ship's schematics on a salvaged holodeable. The heist had been a triumph, but Kira's death and the Krath's looming retaliation weighed heavy. Aisha Malik worked nearby, her tablet plugged into the ship's core, decoding its alien systems. The data was a goldmine, fleet movements, power core specs, but it was useless if they couldn't turn it into a weapon. Lena's mind churned with possibilities, but exhaustion gnawed at her focus. Aisha glanced up, her eyes ringed with fatigue. This core's a beast, self-regulating, hyper-efficient. If we can figure out how to overload it, we could take down a Krath cruiser. But it's got fail-safes I've never seen, we need time. Time's not on our side, Lena said, rubbing her temple. The Krath know we have their ship. They'll hit us hard soon. Diego Reyes strode in, his rifle slung over his shoulder. Scouts report Krath drones sniffing closer. 10 clicks out. We've got maybe a day before they find this canyon. We need to move the ship or fight. Lena nodded, her jaw tight. Moving's not an option yet. Samir's still stabilizing the engines. We fortify here. Diego, double the perimeter guards. Aisha, keep digging into that core. We need something to hit them with. Before Aisha could reply, an alarm blared from the bunker's comms. Samir's voice crackled through. Lena, we've got a problem. Single Krath pod just landed a click north. One occupant says it wants to talk, claims it's defecting. Lena's stomach dropped. A Krath defecting? She exchanged a glance with Diego, whose hand tightened on his rifle. Could be a trap. Or a chance, Aisha said, her voice cautious. Their chatter's been chaotic since the heist. Maybe one's jumping ship. Lena hesitated. Every instinct screamed caution, but a defector could bring intel. Maybe the key to cracking the core. Bring it in, Samir. Full restraints. If it twitches wrong, we drop it. The Krath stood in the bunker's holding cell, its segmented limbs bound with steel cables. Tarek Voon was smaller than most Krath, his bioluminescent eyes dimmed, his mandibles still. Lena stood outside the reinforced glass, flanked by Diego and 2 armed volunteers. Aisha monitored a scanner, checking for hidden weapons or trackers. The alien's presence felt wrong, like a predator caged but not tamed. Speak, Lena said, her voice cold. Why are you here? Tarek's translator buzzed, its synthetic voice halting. I am Tarek Voon, comms officer Krath Dominion. I seek alliance. Your kind fights differently, not like Krath. I wish to understand, to help. Diego snorted. Help? Your people burned Luna, Mars, half of Earth. Why should we trust you? Tarek's eyes flickered. I watched your signals. Your broadcast humans rebuild, laugh, defy. Krath do not. We obey, destroy. I question this. I bring data, fleet plans, weaknesses. Lena's pulse quickened. Fleet plans could save lives, but betrayal was a Krath hallmark. Prove it, she said. Give us something now. Tarek gestured with a bound claw to a small device on his belt, a Krath data shard, glowing faintly. Aisha scanned it, her tablet beeping. It's clean, no trackers, looks like schematics, Krath cruiser layouts, power grid details. Could still be a trick, Diego growled. Send us into an ambush. Or it's real, Lena said, her mind racing. She studied Tarek, his posture tense but not hostile. Something in his eyes, doubt maybe, reminded her of her own grief-driven resolve. Aisha, verify the data. Diego, keep him locked down. If he's lying, he's dead. Tarek's mandibles twitched, but he said nothing as guards led him to a reinforced cell. Lena's gut churned. Trusting a Krath was a gamble, but so was everything they'd done since the invasion. In the workshop, Aisha plugged Tarek's shard into the holodable, its display flaring with Krath cruiser designs. This is legit, she said, her voice tinged with awe. Their power cores are linked across the fleet, centralized control. If we overload one, it could chain react, take out multiple ships. Tarek's data shows the weak points. Lena leaned over the table, her engineer's mind dissecting the schematics. The cores were shielded, but Tarek's notes highlighted a flaw, overheating under sustained EMP stress. We could modify the scout ship's pulse generator, she said. Scale it up, hit a cruiser's core, but we'd need to get close. Suicide run, Diego said, joining them. Their point defenses would shred us. Not if we're cloaked, Aisha said, her eyes gleaming. The scout ship's got stealth tech, basic, but I can boost it with Tarek's data. We slip in, pulse the core, slip out. Lena nodded, plan forming. Samir, how's the ship's engine? Samir, tinkering with a console, looked up. Stable barely. I can keep it flying, but cloaking'll drain power fast. We'd have one shot. Then we make it count, Lena said. She hesitated, glancing at the cell where Tarek sat. Bring the Krath in. If he's with us, he proves it now. Diego bristled. You're not serious. He's one of them. He's a risk we take, Lena snapped. We're out of options, Diego. If he's lying, we'll know soon enough. Tarek stood before the holodable, his restraints loosened but guards at his back. His eyes scanned the schematics, his voice steady. Your plan is bold. Krath do not expect such tactics. I can guide you to a cruiser's core, weakest shield point, port side. Why help us? Lena asked, her voice low. What's in it for you? Tarek's bioluminescence dimmed, his mandibles still. Krath doctrine demands order. Weakness is purged, but you're kind. You turn weakness into strength. I saw your people save each other, sing in ruin. I want purpose, not obedience. Lena studied him, searching for deceit. His words echoed her own drive, to fight for something bigger than survival. Mara and Eli's faces flashed in her mind, grounding her. All right, Tarek. You're with us, betray us, and you're the first to go. Diego muttered a curse, but Tarek nodded, his eyes steady. I understand. The next hours were a blur of preparation. Samir and Lena retrofitted the scout ship's pulse generator, wiring in capacitors from the bunker's dwindling stock. Aisha integrated Tarek's data, boosting the ship's stealth systems to mask its heat signature. Diego trained volunteers to man decoy stations, drawing Krath drones away from the canyon. The bunker hummed with purpose, but tension simmered. Half the resistance distrusted Tarek, their glares sharp as they passed his cell. At dusk, Lena found Tarek alone, studying a human tablet Aisha had given him. It played a video from their broadcast, a family rebuilding a home after a storm. Laughing despite the rubble, Tarek's eyes glowed faintly, transfixed. "Why this?" he asked, gesturing to the screen. "Why rebuild when destruction comes?" Lena sat across from him, her bandaged arms stiff. "Because that's who we are. We fall, we get up, we lose everything, we start again. It's messy, but it's us." Tarek's mandibles clicked softly. "Krath, do not rebuild. We conquer or die your way. It is strange, strong." Lena managed a faint smile. "Stick around, you'll see stranger." By midnight, the scout ship was ready, its hull patched with human ingenuity, duct tape sealing microfractures, capacitors wired with scavenged cables. Lena stood in the canyon, the team assembled, Aisha on tech, Samir piloting, Diego on weapons, and Tarek guiding. The plan was to hit a Krath cruiser in low orbit, overload its core, and escape before the fleet reacted. Risky, but the payoff could cripple the Krath's advance. As they boarded, Diego pulled Lena aside, his voice low. "You're betting a lot on that bug. If he turns, we're done." "I know," Lena said, "but we're out of moves. He's our shot." Diego's jaw tightened, but he nodded. "For Kira, for your family." "For all of us," Lena said, her hand brushing the hollow of Mara and Eli in her pocket. She climbed aboard, the ship's hum vibrating through her bones. The canyon faded as they lifted off, stars piercing the night. Aboard the Krath flagship, Zorith reviewed reports of the stolen scout ship. His officers were restless, their faith in Krath supremacy shaken. The humans' chaos, EMP strikes, stolen ships, nonsensical signals defied logic. Zorith's claws twitched. "Find their base," he ordered. "Burn it, no more games." In a maintenance bay, Tarek's absence was noted. A Krath officer accessed his console, finding human signals, videos of defiance, music, hope. The officer's eyes narrowed. Treason. The Krath would hunt Tarek as fiercely as the humans. In the scout ship's bridge, Lena gripped a console, Tarek beside her. The cruiser loomed ahead, a red Leviathan in orbit. Samir's hands shook on the controls, Aisha's tablet glowed with stealth data, and Diego manned the turrets. Tarek's voice was steady. "Port side, ventral core, aim there." Lena met his eyes, searching for betrayal. She found none. "Let's do this," she said. The ship cloaked, vanishing from Krath scanners, and dove toward the cruiser. Humanity's fire burned in Lena's chest. For Earth, for the fallen, for a future they'd claw from the stars. The Krath scout ship, now a patchwork of human ingenuity and alien tech, hummed softly in the void, its cloaking field bending starlight around its hull. Lena Navarro gripped a console on the bridge, her bandaged arm throbbing as she watched the Krath cruiser loom ahead, a red Leviathan bristling with plasma turrets. The mission was suicidal. Sneak past the cruiser's defenses, deliver an EMP pulse to overload its power core, and escape before the Krath fleet swarmed them. But if they succeeded, the chain reaction could cripple multiple ships, giving Earth a fighting chance. Lena's heart pounded, fueled by grief and defiance. This was for Mara, Eli, and every human the Krath had tried to break. Samir sat at the pilot's controls, his knuckles white. "Cloaking's holding, barely," he said, his voice tight. "Power's at 60%. We've got 10 minutes before the engines overheat." Aisha Malik, plugged into a Krath console with her tablet, monitored the stealth systems. "Their scanners are blind to us thanks to Tarek's data. Port side's the weak spot, ventral core, just like he said." Tarek Voon stood beside Lena, his bioluminescent eyes dimmed in the bridge's red glow. The Krath defector's presence still unnerved the team, but his schematics had proven true so far. "Their defenses prioritize frontal assaults," Tarek said, his translator buzzing. "Your unpredictability will confuse them." Diego Reyes, manning the ship's turrets, snorted from his station. "Unpredictable's our middle name. Just don't make me regret trusting you, Bug." Tarek's mandibles twitched, but he stayed silent. Lena shot Diego a look, focus, not feud. "Samir, take us in slow." Aisha, prep the pulse generator. Tarek, call out any surprises. The ship drifted closer, the cruiser's hull filling the viewscreen. Its surface crawled with drones, their scanners sweeping in rhythmic arcs. Lena's tablet showed the core's location, a pulsing red dot deep inside. The modified pulse generator, cobbled from bunker capacitors and Krath tech, was their only shot. Back at the bunker, a second team was reverse engineering the scout ship's core, racing to scale up the tech. If this mission failed, that work was humanity's last hope. 2 clicks, Samir whispered, entering their sensor range. Aisha's fingers flew across her tablet. Stealth's holding, pulse generators at 80% charge. We're good-ish. The cruiser loomed, its turrets dormant but menacing. Lena's breath caught as a drone veered close, its scanner pulsing. Tarek leaned forward, his claws clicking. It senses heat bleed. Reduce thrusters. Samir cut power, and the ship drifted on momentum. The drone hovered, then moved on. Lena exhaled, her palms sweaty. Nice call, Tarek. Diego muttered something under his breath, but Lena ignored it. The cruiser was a kilometer away, its ventral core exposed. A faint glow through a shielded vent. Samir, line us up. Aisha, pulse status? 90%, Aisha said. 1 minute to full charge. A red alert flashed on Lena's tablet. Incoming patrol, she barked. 2 Krath drones streaked from the cruiser's flank, their scanners locking on. The cloaking field flickered, strained by the ship's heat. They see us? Samir yelled, yanking the controls. The ship lurched, dodging a plasma bolt that grazed their hull. Alarms blared, the cloaking field collapsing. Fire, Lena ordered. Diego unleashed the turrets, twin beams slicing one drone in half, the second Dove firing back. Tarek tapped a Krath console, diverting power to shields. Their cruiser will wake soon, he warned. We must strike now. Aisha slammed her tablet, pulse ready, firing. A shockwave erupted from the ship, an EMP ripple visible against the cruiser's hull. The vent glowed, then sparked, the core overloading in a cascade of blue arcs. The cruiser's lights flickered, drones falling silent as secondary explosions rippled through its frame. Lena's tablet showed nearby Krath ships faltering, their linked cores destabilizing. We did it, Samir cheered, but the celebration died as the cruiser's turrets swiveled, still active. Move, Lena shouted. Samir gunned the engines, the ship screaming away as plasma bolts lit the void. A hit scorched their starboard side, consoles sparking. Tarek braced Aisha, keeping her from falling. Diego fired back, disabling a turret, but the cruiser's drones were waking, swarming like angry wasps. Engines at critical, Samir warned. We can't outrun them. Lena's mind raced. The bunker was 200 kilometers below, too far to reach. Aisha, can you hack their drones? Trying, Aisha said, her tablet smoking. Tarek, help me. Tarek joined her, his claws navigating Krath glyphs. Together they sent a corrupted signal. Freezing half the drones, the rest closed in, but Samir's erratic maneuvers, pure human chaos, kept them guessing. The ship dove into Earth's atmosphere, hull glowing red from re-entry. Brace? Lena yelled. The ship shuddered, landing hard in a Colorado canyon cloaked by dust. The drones lost their trail, retreating to the crippled cruiser. Lena slumped, her arms screaming with pain. Everyone alive? Barely, Diego grunted, nursing a burned hand. Samir laughed shakily. Aisha gave a thumbs up, and Tarek stood silently, his eyes on the viewscreen's smoking wreckage. We hurt them, Lena said, catching her breath. Good work. Back at the bunker, the second team swarmed the scout ship's core, guided by Aisha's uploaded data. Lena, arm freshly bandaged, joined them in the workshop, where Samir and a dozen technicians tore into the alien tech. Tarek's schematics, verified by the cruiser strike, showed the core's overheating flaw, a vulnerability scalable to the Krath's flagship. But building a weapon to exploit it meant pushing human engineering to its limits. Samir held up a rewired capacitor, its wires a tangle of human and Krath parts. This'll amplify the pulse tenfold, he said, but it's unstable. One misfire and we're toast. Then we don't misfire, Lena said, her voice firm. She turned to Aisha, who was syncing Tarek's data with their systems. Any progress on the fleet? Aisha nodded, her screen showing Krath ships scattered, their linked cores still recovering. The cruiser's down and 3 others are limping, but their flagship's rallying them. We've got days maybe before they hit us. Diego entered, his face grim. Krath drones are closing in, 5 clicks out. They're hunting Tarek too. Found his comms logs on their network. He's marked for execution. Lena glanced at Tarek, who worked quietly at a console, his claws precise despite the team's wary glares. He saved us up there, she said. He's one of us now. Not to everyone, Diego warned. Half the bunker wants him gone, or dead. Lena's jaw tightened. Tarek's defection was a spark of hope, proof humanity's spirit could reach even aliens, but it was also a liability. She approached him, her voice low. You knew they'd hunt you, why risk it? Tarek's eyes met hers, glowing faintly. Your broadcast, it showed humans saving each other. I served Krath order, but it is empty. You fight for meaning. I choose that. Lena nodded, a flicker of respect warming her. Keep proving it. We need you. That night, Lena worked alongside Samir, wiring the amplified pulse generator. Her hands moved on instinct, years of fixing spacecraft guiding her. Duct tape sealed a cracked casing, a human touch amid alien precision. Aisha and Tarek optimized the scout ship's stealth, their unlikely partnership yielding results. Diego fortified the bunker, his volunteers ready for the Krath's inevitable strike. Aisha called Lena over, her tablet flashing with a Krath signal. They're scared, she said, grinning. Intercepts call us chaos incarnate. Zorith's ordering a full assault. Earth's their priority now. Good, Lena said, her voice steel. Let them come, we'll be ready. She stepped outside, the canyon air cold against her skin. The scout ship gleamed under its nets, a symbol of human defiance. Tarek joined her, his silhouette alien yet familiar. "You're kind. You work without rest," he said. "Why?" Lena pulled the hollow of Mara and Eli from her pocket, their faces glowing. "For them, for everyone. We don't stop because we can't. It's who we are." Tarek's mandibles clicked softly. "I understand. I will fight with you." Lena met his eyes, seeing not an enemy but a comrade. "Welcome to the resistance." Aboard the Krath flagship, Zorith studied a hollow of Earth, his claws twitching. The humans' cruiser strike was a wound to his pride, their stolen ship a mockery. Tarek's treason was worse, a crack in Krath unity. "Find the traitor," he hissed. "Burn their world, no mercy." His officers chittered agreement, but fear lingered in their eyes. The humans were not insects, they were fire, unpredictable and relentless. Zorith's mandibles flared. He would extinguish them or die trying. In the bunker, Lena watched the pulse generator hum, its power a fragile hope. The Krath were coming, their drones a day away. Humanity was battered, outnumbered, but unbroken. Lena's fire burned brighter, fueled by loss and resolve. The race was on, to turn alien tech against its makers, to defy the stars themselves.